Hi, and welcome to this episode of John's Model Kit Review. Today we'll be looking at Eduard's 1/48 scale Avia B-534 Series 3. This is Eduard kit number 8474. We'll get into the kit review in just a second here, but first a brief history of the Avia B-534. The B-534 was a Czechoslovakian biplane fighter aircraft. It was designed in the 1930s. Design work began in 1932, and the original prototype, pictured here, looked very much like the contemporary Hawker Fury biplane. However, with the 850 horsepower Hispano-Suiza 12Y engine, that's a liquid-cooled V12, the B-534 was a very fast biplane with a top speed of 252 miles an hour. Armament consisted of 4 7.92 millimeter machine guns. Later versions of the B-534 had an enclosed canopy, and while that increased the top speed, it didn't have the clean look of the original open cockpit biplane. The B-534 saw use with many nations throughout World War II, including Germany, Yugoslavia, Greece, Bulgaria, Croatia, and of course Czechoslovakia. In this review, we'll be looking at the built-up kit. We'll also be looking at the kit instructions. We'll talk about the fit of the parts, the clarity of the instructions, the decals, any problem areas to watch out for, and in the end, I'll give my conclusions. This is my first 1/48 scale biplane kit that I have completed, and to my eye, the B-534 Series 3 is one of the most beautiful biplanes ever produced. This is Eduard's Weekend Edition kit. As such, it has a somewhat limited parts count. Looking at the instructions, construction starts with the cockpit sidewalls. The detail here is very nice, it's very petite, and you can see it very clearly through the open cockpit. In the next step, we're enclosing the radiator area, and there's an option to have the radiator cooling fins open or closed. The detail in this area looks very sufficient when viewed from the front, which is what you're going to see when it's on the shelf. However, since this is a weekend edition kit, there's no radiator grille detail visible through the rear of the radiator opening. To add some detail here, I actually cut out some jean material and used some white glue to attach that to the radiator surface. And then I painted it black first and then dry brushed it in silver to give it a little bit of a mesh texture. In step 3, we're building up the rest of the cockpit interior. The detail here is very nice. These parts are small, these parts are delicate, so you really need to take your time here and don't break the parts. There's no decal for the instrument panel, so I just took my time and detail painted that. They came out nice, and I would say take your time here because this is going to be very visible through the open cockpit. Once the fuselage assembly is complete, we're adding the tail planes and the upper engine decking and the lower wings. I didn't have any trouble with these steps. Everything fit very, very precisely. You want to make sure to remove all of the sprue attachment points very carefully to ensure an excellent fit. I didn't have to use any filler on this kit. The next step is attaching the upper wing and the pilot's windshield. I attached all of the instruts to the fuselage and the lower wing first, and then I placed the upper wing on top of that and glued the attachment points carefully and made sure everything lined up. I didn't have any issues with this step. Everything is square, everything came out very nicely. It's a little bit fiddly, but that is the case with any biplane fighter. The final step is building and attaching the landing gear and the tail braces. Some of these parts are delicate. The attachment points aren't super positive. This is another area where you just need to take your time. It's a little bit fiddly, and you just want to go through this slowly and make sure everything is lined up properly, and you should be able to achieve a very, very nice result in the end. The final step is adding the prop and the ordnance racks under the wing. I chose to use the metal prop on mine instead of the wooden one that is called for this actual aircraft. The detail on the bomb racks is very nice, but these parts are very delicate, so you want to take your time and just glue these very carefully. There are some additional diagrams if you choose to rig the biplane. I chose not to add the rigging at this point. It's hard enough for me to keep these kits dusted and clean, but that's something that more experienced modelers may choose to do. There's only one marking option included in this kit, and it is for a number 2 Air Regiment 51st Fighter Flight B-534 in May of 1937 through March of 1939. Eduard has cleverly printed the color and marking guide on the top of the box, and on the side of the box. I love the fact that these are full color views of the aircraft, and it makes placing the decals very easy. The only additions I made to the kit were some Eduard pre-painted photo etch seatbelts and an Eduard photo etch gun sight. In the end, I think this kit just turned out beautifully. Due to the delicate nature of it, due to the fact that it's got a lot of very small, very fine parts, and also due to the fact that it is a biplane, I would recommend this to more experienced modelers. This is a somewhat fiddly kit at times, and there are not a lot of positive part locators, so that can make it a little bit difficult. The ProfiPack versions of this kit are very nice as well, and they include more marking options. They also include photo etch and some other detail bits to really dress up the kit nicely. If you want to go all out, I would recommend buying a ProfiPack version of this kit, but the plastic parts are going to be the same. The kit decals worked wonderfully. They're beautifully printed, they're in register, and I had no issues with those whatsoever. I weathered the exterior of this aircraft using pastels, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. The finesse of detail on this kit is just astounding. It really is beautiful. Well, I'd love to know what you guys think. If any of you have built Eduard's Avia B-534 previously, please feel free to comment in the comment section below. As always, I hope you found this video entertaining and informative, and until next time, model on.